Ranking the best RPGs is basically asking for a fight. So let me set the rules up front. This list is about the games that best deliver the one thing only this genre can. A world that genuinely reacts to you, a character that slowly becomes yours, and choices that actually carry weight. Not just the biggest, not just the newest, the ones that get under your skin and stay there for years. I'm weighing the writing, the freedom you're given, and how much each game respects your time and your decisions. A couple of these are old, and that is on purpose, because a great world does not expire. And the number one pick, in my opinion, is not even particularly close anymore. So here are 10 of the very best, counting down to what I think is the new king of the entire genre. Let's begin. At 10, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. A gorgeous, sprawling world, a combat system that blends real-time action with deep strategy, and a cast you fall in love with all over again. The reason it sits at 10 rather than higher is simple honesty. It leans hard into open-world busywork and an absolute avalanche of mini-games that can bury the emotional story underneath them. There were stretches where I wanted to feel the weight of the plot, and instead, I was playing my 5th round of a card game. But that story and those characters are some of the best in the entire medium, and the high points hit like a truck. If you have any history at all with Final Fantasy VII, this is essential. Flaws and all, a flawed masterpiece is still a masterpiece, and a stunning place to kick off this list. Number 9, Persona 5 Royal. This is the most stylish video game ever made, and it is genuinely not close. A jazzy, slick, endlessly cool role-playing game about a group of high schoolers who change corrupt hearts in a hidden world while living out their ordinary daily lives in Tokyo. The pure genius is in the structure. You constantly balance dungeon crawling against friendships, exams, part-time jobs, and a calendar that forces you to choose what actually matters to you. Do you study, hit the batting cages, or deepen a bond that will literally make you stronger in combat? It is a 100-hour game that somehow feels like it flies by. The Royal Edition adds an entire extra semester of content that improves an already incredible package. If you have ever thought turn-based combat was slow or boring, this is the exact game that proves you wrong, with pure style and real substance. At 8, NieR Automata. Here is the trick that makes it special. You have to play it more than once, and each new playthrough completely reframes everything you thought you understood, building toward an ending people genuinely never forget, one that asks you to give something up. The combat is fast and satisfying. The soundtrack is one of the greatest ever composed, full stop. And the questions it asks about life, free will, and meaning stay lodged in your head long after the credits roll. It is weird, it is bold, and it trusts you to keep going when a lesser game would have quit. Few games are brave enough to be this strange, and fewer still earn it. This one absolutely does. Number 7. Night City is the single most dense, detailed, and atmospheric open world ever built. A place that feels genuinely alive at every level, from the street food vendors to the towering corporate skyline. The Phantom Liberty expansion delivered one of the best story arcs in the whole genre. A spy thriller full of agonizing choices that have no clean answer and stay with you. The build variety lets you become a silent netrunner, hacking enemies to death from across a room, or a chrome-plated wrecking ball. It is the rare redemption story that actually stuck the landing completely. If you wrote this game off years ago, it is genuinely time to come back. At 6, Divinity Original Sin 2. Before a certain studio reshaped the entire genre with their next game, this was the high-water mark for cooperative role-playing, and it still holds up beautifully. A staggeringly deep, turn-based RPG, where the world itself is a physics playground, and your imagination is the only real limit. Set the ground on fire, electrify a puddle of water, play it with friends, and it becomes glorious chaos, because you can lie, steal, and openly scheme against the story and against each other. The writing is sharp and genuinely funny. The freedom is total, and the combat is some of the most satisfying ever designed. This is the game that proved a deep, complex CRPG could be a mainstream hit, a masterpiece in its own right, and the clear blueprint for what came next. Number 5. The Elder Scrolls 5. Skyrim. The feeling of cresting the snowy mountain, spotting the strange ruin glowing in the distance, and just going, with no quest marker, no objective, just raw curiosity pulling you forward. That was honestly never the point. The point is the world and the 1,000 small stories you end up writing for yourself inside it. Add the most active modding community in all of gaming, capable of transforming it into almost any game you can imagine, and you have a world people have genuinely lived in for years. It is not the deepest RPG on this list, but as a pure place to exist and explore, it is still completely unmatched. At 4. Disco Elysium. You play a wreck of a detective trying to solve a murder while your own warring personality traits argue inside your skull about who you even are anymore. Every skill is a literal voice in your head. Every conversation is a minefield of choices that slowly shape your character into a communist, a fascist, a hopeless romantic, or a complete and total disaster of a human being. The writing is, flatly, the best in the entire medium. Funny and tragic and brilliant, often in the very same sentence. It is living proof that a role-playing game can be built almost entirely out of words and still be completely unforgettable. Number 3. The Witcher 3. Wild Hunt. For years, this was simply the answer to the question, best RPG ever made, and it is still right there at the very top of the conversation. A massive, gorgeous open world that, crucially, is filled with handcrafted stories instead of empty busywork. The side quests here are routinely better than most other games' entire main campaigns, full of murky moral gray areas where the right choice is almost never obvious and the consequences are real. Geralt is one of gaming's all-time great protagonists, weary and witty, and the world reacts to your decisions in ways you sometimes do not even see coming until many hours later. Add 2 expansions that are each better and longer than most full-price games, and you have a complete package that has aged like fine wine. If you have somehow still not played it, I am honestly a little jealous, because you are about to experience one of the all-time greats for the first time. At 2. Elden Ring. The Lands Between is built on a constant sense of wonder and dread, a place where every glowing cave and every distant, crumbling castle promises both incredible treasure and sudden death. It respects you enough to let you fail repeatedly, to figure things out on your own, to feel like you genuinely earned every single hard-won victory, the freedom to simply wander off, get utterly crushed by something you had no business fighting, go away, grow stronger, and come back to win is intoxicating in a way few games manage. It is challenging, yes, but it is also the most approachable game the studio has ever made, with 100 different ways to build your character around the difficulty. It is a genuine landmark, the kind of game that defines a whole generation of the genre. And number 1, Baldur's Gate 3. This is the new gold standard, and honestly, it is not even close anymore. Larian Studios built a role-playing game so deep, so reactive, and so absurdly respectful of player choice that it has retroactively raised the bar for the entire industry, and you can feel other studios scrambling to catch up. You can talk your way out of a deadly fight, seduce your way into even worse trouble, murder literally anyone you meet, or solve a problem in a way the developers genuinely never anticipated, and the game just calmly rolls with it and adapts. The writing and the performances are flat out film quality. The companions are some of the best written characters in the medium, and the turn-based combat is endlessly deep and satisfying. It is 3 full games worth of branching content, where a tiny choice in the first hour can ripple across dozens of hours later. Not just the best RPG on this list, but quite possibly the best RPG ever made. Go play it. So that is the list. And yes, I can already feel the comments forming as I say this. Where is Mass Effect? Where is Dark Souls? Where is Morrowind? Where is Fallout? New Vegas? Where is the personal favorite that I have clearly, deeply disrespected? And honestly, good. That exact argument is the entire reason this genre is so special. These worlds genuinely mean something to the people who live in them. So tell me, the role-playing game that defined a chunk of your life, and exactly where on this list it should have ranked. And be specific, because I really do read them. The beautiful thing about RPGs is that the best one is partly just the one that was yours at precisely the right moment. Next time, we are doing the complete opposite of this list. The games that disappointed instead of delivered. So if you want the dark mirror image of everything we just celebrated, make sure you stick around. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.